by Janita E. Townsend and Gertrude E. Townsend. As other times she would be busy on her hand sewing machine, making clothes for her children and mending Busha's work clothes. She also made hats for her family and friends. She had no time for idle chatter. With the many roles she performed caring for her large family, Grandma ensured that the children attended school despite the demand on the boys to assist their father with the operations of the Flamstead Estate and Resort. The head teacher of Dallas Castle Primary School once came to visit and advised her that she should ensure that her bright and promising brood attended school regularly. That was in Patterson.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It's quite down.
To the best of her ability, Grandma fulfilled that commitment. If nothing else, her children were well fed and provided with the basic necessities. Grandma and Grandpa were simple, ordinary folk who lived happy and contented lives that made a difference, empowered by their strong and abiding faith in the Almighty God. Despite the harsh and dark conditions, they lived dignified and purposeful lives and have left a rich legacy of faith, Christian hope for us to emulate. Some of Grandpa's favorite proverbs were, "But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Joshua 24:2-15. You know what that means. As for me, yeah. Second, second verse. What the 15 for? As for me, I will behold the face of righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness. Psalm 17:50. Third of four. May your basket never be empty. Fourth of four. Be careful at what you hear. See and believe. In 1950, the family at the Queen Hill residence had been significantly reduced to Fred and Ralph. Sister Christina's first child, who Grandpa adopted since he had not yet been married, since she had not yet been married to Ruben Edwards. This was a practice of Grandpa to adopt children of his unwedded daughters. Unwed daughters. He usually registered the child's name as Townsend, but the Edwards, an outstanding family in the district, would have none of this. So, to avoid a legal challenge, Rudolph retained the surname of his father. These two young men, Fred and Rudolph, soon flew the nest, leaving Grandpa and Grandma alone. They were now becoming feeble, and Grandpa could not continue to the job of headman of a declining estate and hotel. Sister Chris' other children visited and spent some time with their grandparents, assisting them with the daily chores. In the mid 1960s, their youngest son, Fred, relocated them to a newly built 2-bedroom concrete house at Hall's Delight for easier access and care. Their daughter, Anne Collett, Miss Leonie Farrell, sorry, and her husband went to live with them as their caregivers until their death. After the death of his beloved wife, Gertrude, Grandpa was deeply heartbroken. In his prayers, he would petition God for dying grace and peaceful departure from this life. Him live to 120? Huh?
Mm.
And Abusha live to 120?
Mm.
Huh?
His father.
Ah. So you brought Busha?
Mm.
Huh?
I knew him quite well.
Okay. Lord.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
His grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Busha done the father?
His grandfather.
Okay. Oh. The Lord granted him. He did not suffer much and died peacefully in his sleep on March 31st, 1976. The remains of both grandparents, Frederick and Gertrude, were interned in 1966 and 1975, respectively, at the Canaan Mountain Baptist Church, where they were long-standing and faithful members. In March 2014, the Canaan Baptist Church invited the family for a special service to posthumously recognize our grandparents and Charles Edwards for their sterling contribution to the construction of the Canaan Baptist Church under the leadership of Reverend M.E. Sars. Watch a photograph of our ancestors. Look on Rez Farid upon our one. Rez Hazard Farid upon our one. Lynette. On the favor of Rez Hazard. Some pictures. Frederick Alexander Townsend. Okay. Let me dress up. Come on from there. Ha! What am I there? Martin Lloyd. Okay. Yeah, be a picture. What is Canaan Church? A picture of Canaan Church.
Mm.
Fred, the last of 14 children at the grandparents' graveside.
Yeah.
Fred is the writer, right?
Mm.
My Fred, do the one about from farming.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. I'm not gonna read the read lineage because I know what's something like.
Mm.
I'm not gonna read the read lineage. I'm gonna find that 1,000 again. You don't know what read business. The marriage. The journey from Ponside, Hanover. Maybe small read. I'm not going to let me reach myself. Alright, I read it. I read it. February 15th, 1924. A baby girl, maybe small Reed, was born to Margaret and Augustus Reed in a quiet district called Ponside in the parish of Hanover. She was the only child for Margaret Reed. She had a happy childhood and would often reminisce on the carefree, loving environment in which she was raised. Indeed, it takes a village to raise a child. The villagers cared and protected the children of the district. She related to her children the fond memories of a time she spent at the Gurney Mount Elementary School. Her Christian upbringing had its genesis in Carlisle Presbyterian Church in Ponside. Christian beliefs and principles were hallmarks of her life, and detailing with others. In 1945, having sat the third year certificate examinations, she decided to apply to nursing school in the Kingston Public Hospital. So she journeyed via train from Ponside to Kingston to stay with her aunt Matilda to facilitate her attending an interview with the then matron. At the interview, the matron had advised that she would be considered for further processing with the next batch of trainees. During the interim, she sought and obtained employment as a nurse aide to two children of a British Army officer family. It was on her journeys home that she met the young and handsome private soldier who would change the course of her life. After 6 months of courtship, they were married at Gibraltar Anglican Church, Up Park Camp on August 28, 1946. August 28th. I John's birthday that.
Mm.
At the time of the proposal, she faced a dilemma. An offer from her then employees to travel to England to continue to be with the nurse aide for their two young children, or accept the marriage proposal from this promising young soldier. How could she resist the offer from the charming young man? As the saying goes, the rest is history. Before long, the wedding preparations were in full gear. Her goats in the country were sold to assist with the wedding expenses, and their mother sent 6 dozen securely wrapped eggs via trade for the wedding cake. Not one of these eggs were broken. Aunt Gwendolyn, Miss Lee, Martin's elder sister, was her chief. Grandpa and Grandma Townsend were well decked out and attending this wedding at Upper Camp. Her marriage to this soldier was a romantic and elegant affair, as their love saga was characterized by the aura, pomp, and ceremony of army life. Indeed, beside every successful man is an equally successful and good woman. Our father always extolled her for assisting him in his career advancement to regimental sergeant major in the Jamaica Defense Force JDF, and later director of corrections in the correctional services, as she effectively took control of the financial and housing needs of the family. We remember Mama gloriously and finely dressed, and Dada smartly dressed in military ceremonial attire, going to various army functions. They certainly were a lovely couple. With the arrival of her babies, it was a challenge to pursue her desired career in nursing as she matured into a faithful, industrious, and caring wife and mother to her family. So, caring for her family was a priority. The marriage produced 5 children: Dennis R. Alonita, Martin, Gertrude. Our father rose from the rank of a private soldier to regiment's sergeant major for the 3rd Battalion. We recalled our years growing up at Gibraltar Terrace and Slim Terrace up Park Camp. We enjoyed the benefits of living in a secured, gated environment as an army officer's children. My brothers were allowed to enjoy some of the outdoor facilities, such as swimming, while the girls were required to be at home, assisting with the domestic chores. Both parents valued a good education for their children and made the required sacrifice to ensure that all five children receive a sound secondary education from traditional secondary schools. Most importantly, they ensured that through regular attendance at Sunday school and night services, we were provided with the opportunities for our spiritual development. Olivet Gospel Hall was the sanctuary in which both the gun
Mhm.
in which both Dennis and Janita accepted the Lord as their personal savior, were baptized and became members of the church. Our relative successes were blessings and answered prayers, particularly from Grandfather Townsend, who prayed consistently for our well being and progress. We grew knowing the value of prayers and a close relationship with God. Indeed, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. There are seven grandchildren: Andrea, Kevin, deceased; Lorian, deceased; Mishka and Melissa, Deandra, and great grandchild Aliana. Deandra? Deandra did already. What DJ name? No Deandra DJ name. Huh? We remember Mama as an historian. She was versed in British and West Indian history, as she used to tell us about the exploits of King Henry VIII, Pirate Henry Morgan, Walter Raleigh, etc. She told us about the Morenby Uprising in Paul Bogle, George William Gordon, Marcus Garvey. We had our own history teacher at home. Housing for the Good family. In 1951, she had 3 children, and it was becoming increasingly difficult to find sustainable rented accommodations for her growing family. She related an occasion in which the landlord was impressed with the young couple, but when she was told that there were 3 children, the offer to rent the apartment was rescinded. The landlord complained that children marked up the walls and damaged her property. Our mother resolved that her days for rental would be over sooner than later. Purposefully, she followed her plan to save consistently towards her deposit and to qualify for the mortgage. By 1954, she achieved this goal and brought our first family home at 14 Carpenter Road, Kingston 5, a 4-bedroom house on adequate land. The location was ideal as it was in close proximity to church, school, shopping, and businesses in the Halfway Tree area. The property was fairly well fruited. There were bananas, breadfruit, tamarind, ackee, East Indian, beefy, and blacky mangoes. We always had a vegetable plot with callaloo, pumpkin, pepper, scallion, etc. As children, we know had adequate yard space to play. Most of our early childhood years were spent at this home that provided stability, and rental income for the family. As an homemaker, sir, my read tip on level one, I get my phone read level two to you. I can't get everything in the boss. Yeah, I'm gonna run it tomorrow. As an homemaker, you're on level two tonight.
Mm.
I go to the phone tomorrow.
Yeah, cool.
Alright. How much you say for the phone on the TV?
Um,
Alright. Gear two now. As an homemaker, Mama made her home a hospitable place not only for her immediate family but for those close relatives who lived or stay with us. Some on weekends, some for 1, 2 months, some for up to a year until they got their footing to launch out. Now you're level two, now stick to level one. Launch out into life and migrate to the USA or the UK. In this regard, Mama played the role of Martha attending to the needs of her loved ones. Her culinary skills, especially the Saturday rich pumpkin beef gungo pea soup, the Christmas cakes, the potato cornmeal pudding, were always delicious and nutritious. Our regular Sunday dinner consisted of baked chicken, roasted beef, brown stew fish with rice and red peas, potato salads, fresh green vegetables. This would be accompanied by a natural soursop and carrot or beetroot drink. Our mother ensured that we were properly fed. Our cousin Pearl, Gloria Edwards, lived with us for many years. She was a big sister to us. Her dressmaking skills ensured that our dresses were nicely and fashionably designed. We were so broken by her untimely death in a bus accident within months of her planned wedding. We lived at Carpenter Road for about 7 years before moving to a new home in Pembroke Hall Housing Development. Our stay here was short-lived. Jamaica independence in August 1962 brought changes as colonial rule gave way to self-government. Our father's promotion to the rank of regimental sergeant major resulted in the family's relocation to live in the married quarters of 27 Gibraltar Terrace and later at 61 Slim Terrace in Up Park Camp. At the end of our father's tenure, sorry, with the army, the family moved to a newly constructed home in Patrick Gardens. On his retirement from the JDF, both our father and mother went on a vacation to Florida. Or mama, for mama, this was her first trip overseas, and she enjoyed the experience. After this, she traveled on other occasions along with her daughter to Florida for shopping. My father's hard work and my mother's financial acumen, resourcefulness, and sacrifice laid a solid foundation and stability for the family. On her life's journey, she lived in peace, harmony, and charity with her neighbors and tenants, her church brethren, her family, and all who came in contact with her. On her, one will not forget her love and patience for her son Harry, who faced health challenges. She was always there to follow him for treatment and to encourage him to take his medication. Harry. In challenging times, her quiet and calming spirit would foster an assurance that calamity would not prevail once Jesus was in our ship. The loss of her grandchildren, Kevin and Lorian, was a disruption of the natural order. Grandparents ought not to bury their grandchildren, but in the fullness of time, she accepted the fate and gave God thanks for their lives and the times they spent with us. We told them dear in our hearts, we hold them dear in our hearts, and they live forever in our memories. Most importantly, we love the Lord. She loved the Lord with all her heart. She lived the theology of loving your neighbor as yourself. She was a good and faithful servant who made her transition into eternity on May 8th, 2014. 2014? You remember that? Uh, the journey from Queen Hill to the journey from Queen Hill, Martin Elijah Townsend. Extraordinary, blessed, gifted. These were some of the adjectives that came readily to mind as one reflects on the life of our father. Martin Elijah Townsend. Who would have imagined that this simple country lad who carried the luggage from Gordon Town to Flamstead Hotel for the then British Colonial Commissioner of Prisons would one day rise to the post of Director Correctional Services of Jamaica and eventually receive a posthumous national award for meritorious service in 1985. Amazing! The eighth child of Frederick and Esther Townsend Martin was born on February 5th, 1921. His twin brother died at birth. He was given the prophetic middle name Elijah, which means Yahweh is my God. He would sometimes talk about the void in his being caused by the loss of his twin brother, but console himself that the Creator knew best. At the age of early teens, he became assistant to father, who was the headman at the Flamstead Estate Hotel. This position he assumed after his elder brother Joshua died mysteriously in the prime of his life. We were told that Josiah was a well-built and handsome man who, who was sought after by the aspiring young ladies of his district. In this role as assistant, Martin excelled. It was hard mental and manual work for a meager financial reward. This tedious and demanding job adversely affected his schooling. Through creativity and ingenuity, He was able to accomplish his many tasks and attended school sometimes. He hardly attended school on Fridays in order to ensure that the hotel was ready for the weekend. Lavish dinners or events for the British colonial elites who attended these functions. He assisted with the basic bookkeeping and the procurement of supplies and goods for the estate, which included walking to Garden Town slash Papine to procure supplies for the effective operations of the hotel estate. His hectic job required him to practice effective time management and self-care. His teacher, noticing his pattern of absences, visited and advised his mother of his potential ability and that she should allow him to attend school regularly. Competing demand of the work made this difficult, but mother did her best to improve his attendance at school. One of his tasks was a regular Saturday morning visit to Miss Sissy, a member of uh, a member of Langlois or Langlois,
Illinois.
Langlois family, who owned the Flamsteed estate to provide her with money collected, provisions, and updates on operations of the hotel estate. He would travel via a tram car into Crossroads and walk to her home in Richmond Park, Kingston. For his errand, he was paid less than minimum wages. Uh, uh, sorry. It was one of these visits that the inquisitive Martin saw some young men in cadet uniforms in Crossroads. Impressed by their smart appearance, he inquired how he could join this volunteer cadet force. On receiving instruction from one of the cadets, he promptly traveled up Park Camp and enlisted in the cadet force. On his future visits to Mississippi, he would journey to Upper Camp for training as a volunteer cadet. His mother Gertrude was all in agreement with this move. She saw his uh, uh, light get dim with all. Oh, good.
Oh,
His mother, yeah. She was his confidant who prayed consistently for him. It was not until later that his father knew the details of his maneuvers on Saturdays, since they were uncertain how he would react. At the same time, sorry, that Mavis Reed was planning to migrate to Kingston to pursue a career in nursing, Martin was recruited to join the army. It was the period of World War II, and young and strong men were being recruited. Martin was on the list of soldiers who were next in line to be sent to England to go into the battlefield. But by divine intervention, the war ended, and that batch of soldiers did not leave the shores. By then, his sister Gwendoline had married to Mr. Zada Lee, an established tailor who had his family home in Kingston. That are the one who raised you? Huh?
Mm.
Huh?
Oh, I did this on my family.
Uh,
This is not that
Martin would spend time with her when in Kingston. Several of her siblings who migrated to the city to pursue their job opportunities and studied stayed with her temporarily until they found their footing in the city. His military career, World War II, demanded manpower. In 1944, he was enlisted in Jamaica Regiment until December 31st, 1951. Then in the West India Regiment from January 1, 1958. Then in the West India Regiment from January 1959 until July 1962 independence. And finally, in the Jamaica Defense Force from July 31st, 1962 to February 8th, 1970. In total, he gave sterling service to the JDF of 25 years and 321 days. He received he received posthumously the Order of Honor for his distinguished service to his country in the military field. He was the first Jamaican to pass the weapons course at Hythe. Hythe or Hythe? Hythe.
family.
Hythe, England, April 1959. With an advent of federation, he served in Trinidad and Tobago and was an active participant in every major operation in which the JDF was involved since 1962 until his retirement from the Army in 1970. His life motto was never, never give up. After retirement from the Army in 1970, he took up the position of Superintendent Correctional Services Prisons. He later promoted he was later promoted to the top job of Director of Prisons Correctional Services in about 1980. After his second retirement, he was retained to contract a training. He was, he was retained on contract as training consultant to the Correctional Services Department and spent his work week at the training camp at Runaway Base in Anne. Training nearly recruited, training newly recruited correctional officers. A wonderful father. But that was his meteoric rise in his military career. To us, his children, he was Dada, caring, loving, and ever present in our lives. He worked hard and afforded us a good life, for which we are truly grateful. He was a confident man, a good husband and father. He delegated the family financial management as his trusted to his trusted, capable, and shrewd wife Mavis. He was president of the Parents Teachers Association at Rashid's Primary School, where the first four children were enrolled. This demonstrated his interest in our education, so we were well known by the teachers as a thousand children at school. He used the rod of correction sparingly. It was a last resort, reserved for the boys if they stepped out of line. In stern verbal command, it was usually adequate to ensure A stern verbal command usually adequate to ensure compliance with his high standards. Rain or shine, we were present and punctual at school and expected to do our best. Our primary school teachers were told only to spare the eyes. It paid off. We all benefited from a solid primary, secondary, and university education. He was an effective and engaging manager with excellent people skills. His faith in God was the source of his strength and success. Following the tradition of his father without failing, on returning home each evening, he proceeded straight to his bedroom to thank God for his help and protection in the day. Thereafter, he would return to the living room and greet us and ask us about our day. He had accepted the Lord and Savior as a young man and was on the choir at Canaan Mount Baptist Church. His hobbies. Martin loved music, would serve as a catalyst for the pressure and stress of his demanding job. He was an amateur pianist and a fairly good accordion player. One of his favorite songs was Amazing Grace, which he would play by ear on the family piano. Sam, Roger got short here. Jim Reeves' songs were his favorites, which he would play on his accordion with eyes closed, as if he were transported into a celestial realm. This song was particularly special to him. He seemed to have found comfort and solace in the words. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. You know what I want to do? You gone?
Come on.
Alright. Boss, I'm tired. 45 minutes out, 47 minutes out gone here. Take it to 50. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I'm tired, I'm weak, I'm lone. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on in the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me on. When my way goeth drear, precious Lord, linger near. When my light is most gone, hear my cry, hear my call. Hold my hand lest I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. His family was his constant companion and a welcome distraction from the work demands. Family time was important. Or, or sumptuous Sunday family dinners were times well spent in face-to-face discussions on family matters. Oh, oh. The chapter I don't know. Two more paragraphs and we'll reach 49.
But you stuck to read the other paragraph.
Remember my phone tomorrow, you know, that till you know. Remember all them talk there, you know. I go wake up and say, Daddy, remember them talk there? Phone. And you always say. He was often.
You start one with my father.
I mean, phone for read. Phone for read program. He was often called on an act as master of ceremonies or as, what is this? RACONTEUR, what that? Raconta? What is that? MC? Raconta? Raconta. I find a nice word. Raconta. Rusty the Raconta. What you say? Yeah. Raconta. Raconteur or raconteur?
Raconteur.
Raconteur, like entrepreneur, yeah, raconteur. Special events such as weddings. He enjoyed these occasions. With a glass of wine in hand, he would have his audience captivated with his human anecdotes. I am get it from. You see it? You don't see it?
One.
Huh?
Mm.
The military man. What name? What name?
Martin Townsend.
All married, me no remember married, you know. I see him picture there.
We making a talk at this function.
Yeah.
And he was the MC.
Yeah.
And you finish and you make a good work, paragraph and say, clap him face, clap him face.
What is this? Slap him face?
Clap him face.
Clap in face? What that mean?
You just clap him.
Clap in face.
Mm.
Like when we say, clap in face, clap in face.
Yeah.
Okay. Clap in face, raconteur. It's more than Mike again.
He took guys, he took some guys in the army.
Okay, yeah.
Prison service.
Yeah,
Some of them still in there.
yeah. His death was unexpected and sudden. He died from heart failure while driving home from work on Balmoral Road, Kingston. He threw the family in deep sorrow and mourning our irreplaceable loss, our beloved Dada. We consoled ourselves in knowing that he was a faithful servant of the Lord. He lived a full life and went to be with his great on July 18th, 1985. Then when he that?
Mm.
I say, clap on face. What was it?
Clap him face.
Clap in face. Massive. We're out. Reach halfway in the book.
One more.
No, sir. 2, 3 days now, I'm gonna get no phone now. No. My idiot.
What
Mad.
is that?
Halfway gone.